And I've been going to, I've been going to the Shriners, it feels like, for the last 2 decades. I love going to this tournament. I love the people that come out and support the event. It's for charity. Of course, TPC Summerlin, a beautiful golf course. And every year, it's always a pleasure having this guy in studio. He's done such a great job since he took over. Well, I don't know how many years it's been now, Patrick Lindsay. It's been, what, 5, 6 years? How long have you been
This will be my 8th.
8th. Oh, my God. It's been 8 years. Look at that.
Nuts.
Well, Patrick is the tournament director for the Shriners Hospital for Children's Open, which is October 3rd through the 9th at TPC Summerlin. Yeah, Patrick, you've done an incredible job. As I always say, you took this tournament over. Wasn't one of the best fields in golf, to put it bluntly, and you really turned this thing around. We were just talking about the field you had starting in 2019, which was really impressive. You had everybody out here. In the last several years, it hasn't been much different. It's really been a great field.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hope that 2022 is going to have some of the same results. Really over the last 3 years, if you look at the FedEx Cup rankings from the year before, take those top 50 guys, we've had anywhere between probably 20 to 30 of those guys. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll probably end up somewhere in that same frame.
Which is a huge improvement for where this tournament was at 10 years ago. All right, let me bring up the big pink elephant in the room. And I have to bring this up. And obviously I want to talk about the great work you guys do at raising money for Shriners, the lives that are impacted and all that stuff. I'm going to get to all that stuff with you in this segment, but I got to talk about LIV Golf. Yeah. I said when this thing started, it's going to hurt the PGA Tour, but it's really going to hurt tournaments like the Shriners. Mm-hmm. Think about the players that have supported this event, the Brooks Koepkas. Bryson DeChambeau won here a couple years ago. He was great for this tournament. Phil Mickelson was here in 2019. Ricky Fowler. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. These are guys that would probably still want to play in this event, but they can't because the PGA Tour is saying, no, you can't play in these events. I can't even imagine how frustrating that must be for somebody like you who has worked so hard, I know you have, over the years in getting these guys to play here.
Yeah, it's, starting, what was it? Probably in January of this year when it really kind of started coming to a head of what that tour was trying to do. And then all of a sudden they had their first event and some guys left. I mean, I think about 3 key guys that have been important to us the last few years that we've pretty much had consistently. And 2 of them are past champions, and Bryson DeChambeau, who gives to the hospital as well. And will continue to give to the hospital. Kevin Na, who left to past champion as well. And then Brooks, who has played consistently with a couple years not playing. Losing those 3 guys in particular hurts. I mean, without a doubt. It's not like the other PGA Tour, guys or other PGA Tour events have them. We're kind of all in the same bucket here. Yeah. We're trying to kind of, reinvent that field a little bit and start telling stories of new guys. And
those are huge names.
New guys that are emerging as well, like the Will Zalatoris that are sticking around, who has had an incredible year. All of a sudden he's injured now and can't play in the Tour Championship. But if you look at his year, he only has 1 win, but he's also won $9.4 million in the PGA Tour.
Very consistent.
Not too bad. And, hopefully Will can get healthy and still play our event in about 45 days. But, when it goes back to those guys, it sucks. Yeah. I wish they could play the event. I wish they were here. I wish they hadn't left.
Have these guys reached out to you and said, hey, if I could, I would? Like, has anyone ever said to you, if the PGA Tour allowed me to, I'd love to?
No, I mean, I would say that if the PGA Tour allowed them to play, I think Kevin would obviously play. I bet Bryson would play. But, going into it, the thing about all of it is that, the tour made their stance known, right? They communicated to the players what their stance was, and then the players decided to still leave.
I'm conflicted on this, Patrick, because this is what you do for a living, and you tell me if you agree or not with me. I'm conflicted on this. When this first came out and I heard DJ was leaving and they paid him $100 million, I was angry at first. And then I listened to Greg Norman. And by the way, I'm not a big Greg Norman fan personally, but I listened to him and he made some very good points. He said, listen, the PGA Tour, they've accepted sponsorships from Saudi-backed companies. The LPGA Tour does the same thing. How is this any different? When you offer somebody $100 million or $20 million, whatever the case may be, maybe they're at the end of the career, maybe they're at the beginning of their career. A guy like a Kevin Na, I don't know if he'll ever win on tour again. He's a great player, maybe, but you offer a guy like that $25, $30 million. I don't criticize the players for that. I don't like here's what I don't like. I don't like some of the comments of some, not all, some of these players have made negatively about the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour got you to where you are, whether you're an independent contractor or not. Stop trashing the PGA Tour. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. If you want to make all this money and suffer the consequences of back home, that's on you. I'm not going to criticize you for it. Very fair. I don't like the comments they're making about the PGA Tour, right? And Rory McIlroy and a lot of these guys that remain on tour have criticized them for that, and I agree with that.
Yeah, and I do too. You know, you look at some of those guys who have criticized it, and, you know, I think they've forgotten that, you know, they've already made millions of dollars playing golf.
Right.
And, you know, they need to recognize that with the tour. And some of them have. You know, I think Bryson's done a good job of recognizing that, DJ a little bit as well. But there's definitely been guys that have, like, you know, they've kind of gone out and trashed the tour a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to take. But now there's changes being made on the PGA Tour side. Commissioner Monahan made an announcement this morning. They're elevating some PGA Tour events to, you know, try to be a little reactive to LIV. But coming out of that meeting that Tiger and Rory had and united all of these top players together, you know, I think now we're going to see some stability of people leaving or not leaving. I think all of this hopefully is just going to settle the noise, you know, create some stability that now we have a plan and fully be able to go forward with that plan into the next year. That's
last question about this. Then I want to get back to Shriners. That's why you're here.
All good.
I believe, and I said this for the last month or so, eventually the PGA Tour is going to have to work with the LIV Tour. Why? Because it helps the PGA Tour. It helps people like you. It helps us. It helps the Shriners. If you work with LIV and you say, okay, listen, we understand you're making all this money.
Yeah.
We're going to let you still play in PGA Tour events and maybe put some other things in there to give PGA Tour players maybe some incentive to come back instead of, you know, trashing players. And I'm not saying everybody's doing that, but at some level, you're going to have to work with the LIV Tour and allow these guys to play in some of these events because it hurts the Shriners. It hurts tournaments all over the country. I get it. They still can play in majors. I know Bryson DeChambeau loves the fans here. Great guy. He wants to come back here. He wants to play in the Shriners. At the same time, why can't they do both? I think the PGA Tour has made a mistake. I don't think they realized how many players are going to be going over there when they did this. And now you have so many top players that are over there. I just feel like you have to work with the LIV Tour. You have no choice at this point. What would you say to that?
Well, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, right? We use that phrase all the time. And, you know, I think probably a year ago, you know, if the tour would have made some of these changes a year ago that they announced today, maybe the whole thing would have kind of gone away. I think it's going to be a while before they allow the LIV guys to come back into the field. And I say that because they really need to protect the guys that stayed.
Right.
You know, they need to protect Rory and Spieth and JT and Cainley and, you know, all of those guys that dug their heels down. I'm like, no, this is the best tour in the world. I'm going to stay with the PGA Tour. And, you know, yes, it's not perfect. Yes, we need to make some changes, which they are addressing. But I think if they go back, you know, just say it next year and say, okay, we're going to let these guys back in. I think there's going to be some animosity. And I just think it's not going to be as easy as just kind of saying, okay, we're going to let them back in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it won't ever happen because I would love to have Brooks back in our field or Bryson or Kevin or any of those guys back in our field at some point. But I think that's a long play.
And obviously there's some guys that don't need the money, right? Rory McIlroy doesn't need it. JT's got a lot of money. I understand you throw $100 million at somebody. It's hard to say no to that. But for some of the guys that maybe are at the end of their career or maybe at the early in their career that could use that money, I think it's very different, and it's hard for Rory. I like Rory McIlroy a lot. I've always been a big fan of his, and I appreciate his passion. But he also, I think he does understand this, that there's some guys that don't have the money he has, and it's in a different situation. Are you surprised that Tiger turned down $900 million?
That's hard, isn't it?
Almost $1 billion he turned down. Can you believe that?
Well, he already has $1 billion, but still another billion, right? You know, no, that would be hard. And listen, like, the guys that left, like, I'm sad that they left. I'm not, just like any other one, any person would say. Rory has said it. He's not mad at those guys. They made that decision, right? And they made that, just go back to, they made that decision knowing what the consequences were as well.
Right.
So I think that's where all the guys who have stayed on the PGA Tour, that's kind of where they're at. It's like, no, we don't necessarily want them to come back because they knew what the decision they were making was.
Got it. Yep.
And that's that, and that's how we're going to move forward.
If you're just joining us, he is Patrick Lindsay, the tournament director for the Shriners Hospital for Children's Open. This is his 8th year. The tournament is October 3rd through the 9th at TPC Summerlin. Beautiful golf course. You know, there's so many things I love about Shriners, and I have so many great memories. Obviously, I wasn't here for Tiger Woods when he won his first PGA Tour event at TPC Summerlin. You were not here either, but that's a pretty historic thing. And we've had so many great champions. Jim Furyk is another name that comes to mind. He won here a couple times, right? And he's had a lot of success here. And then I look at this year, and I look at a guy like Patrick Cainley. We were talking a little bit about him off the air, a guy that's had so much success here. Yes, he won here, and then he lost in that playoff, that exciting playoff with Kevin Na. That was really exciting. That was super cool to watch that. And of course, I think of Bryson DeChambeau. My time here, and you were here to see this, the putt he made, I believe, on 16.
It was 16.
I was there. I saw it, and that was really exciting. I wanted to tell you this, Patrick. This is a weird experience. Last year, I'm watching Hideki Matsuyama, who has been a big supporter of Shriners. The Masters champion shows up last year.
Quite a bit.
Right. So I'm watching him on 16. I shouldn't laugh about this, but it's weird. He hits a tee shot, and it hits a guy in the face, and it made TMZ, by the way.
Yes.
And listen, this stuff happens, right? It happens anywhere. And the guy couldn't have been nicer. There's like blood rushing down his forehead, and yet he's looking at, and Hideki's like looking next to him, and it's live on the Golf Channel. And Hideki's like, "What do I do?" I could see he had the face like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" He takes out a glove, he signs it for him. And the story made TMZ. I know that's not necessarily the TMZ story you want, but these things happen, right? That happened on 16.
Listen, it happens. It happens every week on the PGA Tour. Not necessarily the rushing of the blood, right? And that was obviously extremely unfortunate. And we believe that guy's okay. We've reached out to him. We've given him some apparel and some signed stuff.
That's nice of you.
It's only so much that we can do,
right.
But appreciated him being out. But I mean, people get hit.
I know.
Week in and week out, and it's hard for us because we can't just kind of take a section of each hole and say, "Sorry, you can't stand there."
No, that happens. There's nothing you can
do.
Remember the I think it was a tournament. It might have been the Ryder Cup where I think a lady lost her eye. I remember that story. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. It's very rare. And the golf ball has to hit you in a really particular spot for you to be seriously injured, because for the most part, you have a little bruise. And by the way, these guys usually hit the ball pretty straight too. But hey, that stuff happens. But it was just a weird thing that I was in the group watching, and it was just like, wow, that was wild. So have you had any major commitments? Or I know you mentioned Zalatoris, who hopefully will play. I know he's injured. I don't know if Patrick Cainley is going to be playing or not, but any big names that are not on the LIV Tour that are going to be supporting and coming out this year?
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think we're going to have a great field. Our portal for people to register just opened last week. So we're still waiting for guys to kind of officially commit. And really they have until, for the listeners who don't know, they have until the Friday before the event in order to commit. So, I mean, it comes down to the last possible moment before these guys actually commit to the field. Patrick Cainley, past champion, speaking with his team, it appears that he has highlighted our event on his schedule as a must play. So unless something happens between, now, through the President's Cup and to our event, we expect him to be here.
Why wouldn't he? The guy seems to be in contention every year in this tournament. He loves the golf course.
Yeah, he's either winning or finishing
second. It's unbelievable.
So he's, we feel really, really great about him. Then we also kind of look at our local players that we have in market. There's a ton of young guys in market, like the Taylor Montgomerys and the Harry Halls, who just got their tour card on the Corn Ferry. We expect them to be here. Maverick McNeely,
good young player,
who's going to help us out on Media Day here in a couple of weeks. He's going to be here. We feel good about Colin Morikawa, who's played us before in communications with his agent, but we feel like we have a really good chance of getting him. Xander Schauffele.
I don't think Colin Morikawa's ever played, right?
He didn't play last year. He played in 19 and 2020.
Oh, okay. So a couple before he won the Open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we feel good about him. Xander Schauffele lives in market. So we're going to go after him pretty strong as well.
He's played here before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in my time. So Xander has not played in us since I've been here, but I think we have a great opportunity of him being a local player.
And then you got guys like Charlie Hoffman and guys that played for UNLV. You mentioned Montgomery, who's been on this show before.
Yep. Great
young player who's played in the U.S. Open. He was telling me a story about how he played a practice round with Brooks Koepka at the Open. Pretty cool. Taylor's a great guy. Of course, his father is the club pro over there at Shadow Creek.
Yep.
Isn't it great when you have, and Charlie Hoffman is such a great guy.
Yep.
He does so much for charity, and he's been on the show too.
Yep.
There are really some good people,
There's a lot for Shriners too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's given to us. We've hosted pro-ams with his name on it that has supported Shriners as well. And it's not just Charlie. We have a ton of guys that Wyndham Clark is a great example. Danny Lee as well. Those two guys, PGA Tour players who are really successful on tour, who constantly give back to Shriners as well. And that's one of the reasons why Shriners continues to do this as well. Not necessarily for Wyndham Clark and Danny Lee to give us money, but we are obviously making an impact in their lives through our player experiences with our patients that we're providing those guys, that they see that the great work that Shriners does, and they have been generous to give back to us. And that's one of the reasons that we do this. It's not all about the TV coverage and the exposure and the spectators and all of that.
Yeah.
We want to be more visible to our PGA Tour players and our sponsors and our spectators.
And for people, it's interesting because I watch these commercials, these Shriners commercials, and I see these young kids with the bravery. Who knows what their situation is? Maybe they were born without a leg or without an arm, and all the surgeries they have to go through, and the physical struggles. And these kids are so strong. I see these. I love the commercials, because I see some of these kids at your event, and I shake their hand. I say, "Hey, you're awesome, man. You were great in that commercial," and you can see the glow in their eye. And
well, you got Alec Wright. Alec is an incredible young ambassador for us. He's now at University of Northwestern in a journalism degree. New rising star in our commercials, little Caleb as well. He's been incredible. He's out of Montreal, I believe, in Canada. But the kids are great, and we talk a lot internally about whether or not we need to introduce celebrities to our events. But we keep going back to like our kids, our patients are our celebrities, and
which I love.
Kind of keep moving with that.
I love
that's what
that.
Makes a difference.
So my question is this: I don't want to go back to the Justin Timberlake days because I was talking to my producer before the show. I don't want to be negative here, but I'll put it bluntly: he did not do a very good job with his name on the tournament. That's me saying that, not you. I don't want to get you in trouble. I'm not a Justin Timberlake guy. With that being said, I love what you just said. Let's get these kids' faces. Yeah. Can you do both though? Because and I've asked you this before. We live in Las Vegas, right? We have celebrities everywhere. I would imagine that some celebrities, and not easy, but some celebrities would maybe come out and maybe do a charity day. I don't know. Is that a possibility down the road where we could get some of the local celebrities, maybe do a charity day where you get all these celebrities coming out and play a round of golf? And I know people would come out and support that.
Yeah, I think our goal when it comes to celebrities, we just want them to come out. We want to give them a good time. We want to introduce them to patients. We want them to be honorary observers and walk inside the ropes and have the PGA Tour involved to make sure that the tour, globally broadcasts it out, that, we have celebrities on site, and really that the athlete side as well, with the Golden Knights and the Raiders, and, our NASCAR drivers, soccer players, etc., who are now in town. Like, we need to get all of those guys out too and help with them. And it's not just necessarily like the Raiders current players, because it's hard because they're in season. The Knights are in season as well. But let's get some of the Raiders legends out to come out and support the, event as well, and have Marcus Allen walk inside the ropes.
I saw them. I mean, I saw a lot of Knights players, including Mark Stone and a couple other guys during the tournament. They were just watching as a spectator. Yeah. I saw plenty of Knights players out there. So a lot of these guys play golf.
Yeah. And some of them want to kind of stay incognito, right? They just want to come out and
watch
enjoy
some
hospitality and watch some golf, because they're all huge golf fans.
Right.
I believe the night season starts the October 11th, which is the Tuesday after the tournament. So they'll probably have a preseason game or some practice, but those guys, will definitely be out on the golf course.
No question. And it's fun seeing the locals come out and support the event, the big names, whether it be a Knights player or a Raiders player. Yeah. Like, to have a guy like a Mark Davis come out, I think would be huge. Somebody like that. All right. So any changes? As you know, the tournament is October 3rd through the 9th. I enjoy going like Monday, Tuesday too, because I like to go to the practice rounds. I remember I was watching Brooks Koepka play a couple holes. I was the only person following him, and I was like, oh my God, this is at the time he was the number one golfer in the world, and I'm in heaven, right? Bryson DeChambeau, I know these guys aren't going to be there, but I'm just giving you some stories of great experiences that me personally I've had covering the tournament, but I'm also a golf fan, so it's fun for me. So Monday, Tuesday is fun, right? You got the practice rounds, you got I believe on that Monday and Sunday, I believe you have a around where
we have a pro-am on
pro-am,
Monday.
right? That's the word I was looking
have
for.
a pro-am on Monday
And Wednesday, right?
Yep, Monday and Wednesday are our pro-ams.
Yep.
Wednesday's a great day to come out because the guys are really, really approachable. But Thursday through Sunday, although we have a lot of conversations about us being more like the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and we're working to have certain pieces of that, but we're still very, very intimate. And we are able to provide opportunities for our spectators to get pretty up close and personal with their favorite PGA Tour players that are playing. And let's also just remember that there isn't another PGA Tour event the same week as us. So if you want to see a PGA Tour event, in Las Vegas or in the country, like it happens in Las Vegas during that week. There's not another event that these guys are playing. So arguably the best players who play the game of golf will be in Las Vegas playing our event during that week. So you're going to, our spectators are going to be up close and personal with all of these guys.
No question. A lot of birdies out there too. Where do people go to get tickets if they want to buy and purchase tickets to either day or the entire week? What packages are you giving away? And maybe if you could give us like kind of like a price range too.
Yeah, for sure. So ShrinersChildren'sOpen.com is the website. You can go and get tickets. We have a great ticket partner in SeatGeek as well. So that's where you can go. Again, ShrinersChildren'sOpen.com. We have really three main ticket packages. We have kind of our grounds ticket that also provides access to the hill. So you have the ability to go into the hill right between 16, 17, and 18 that has a great experience in there, kind of sports bar type experience. Those tickets start at $35. So really affordable to be able to come on site. Also, any kid under the age of 18 is getting the event for free as well.
Oh, wow.
So a family of four can come to the event for $70, husband and wife.
You just show up and with your kids and they just give you a ticket.
That's correct.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's great you're doing that.
So then we also have our clubhouse ticket. And then we also have a shared hospitality ticket called The Spot that overlooks the 17th hole as well. That is inclusive of food and beverage. And that ticket starts around $275 or so.
And I got to tell you, on a Sunday afternoon, it gets a little fun. It's like a big party. It gets a little rowdy out there. It reminds me of Phoenix a little bit. It's a lot of fun, but that's what this is about, right? Yes, it's about raising money for charity, but you go out there and it's about having a good time. You watch some and a lot of people last year that I met they weren't even really big golf fans, but they went out there for the party, right? They went out there to have a good time. It's like a party atmosphere
and it's exactly what we're trying to do across our whole 16 and 17. We have a new product called The Spot, and we also are selling some reserved cabanas along the 16th and 17th hole as well. We are trying to create an atmosphere along 16 and 17 that is a fun, lively, be seen atmosphere. And let's get down to it. That's exactly what people want, right? They want to go to an event to be seen and have a good time. So that's what we're trying to do along the 16th and 17th holes. And it's going to take time. We had 20 cabanas last year. We're trying to do 33 cabanas. This year, we've sold 30 of those. So we have a few more that we need to sell. But we have really a nice product right there. And the best part, we've said it. It all goes back to support Shriners Children's. I'm not a part of an organization, a private organization that runs this for Shriners. I am a Shriners employee.
Right.
Any dollar that is spent through a sponsorship or a ticket sale goes straight back to the organization that helps provide medical care for kids regardless of their ability to pay.
And there's so many volunteers, so many people that are going to be out there on the course all week that are volunteering their time to help people. I think they're heroes for doing what they do, and what you guys have done, not only just for, I talked to you a lot about how you've turned the program around and had so many big names, which is great over the last 8 years. It's been phenomenal, but even more important is the charity work and the money that you help bring in with everyone else. You're saving kids' lives and you're enhancing their lives. And I think that's the most important thing. It's great golf, go out there and support it, but know that when you buy a ticket and you enjoy yourself, you're also saving lives. I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's not, that's really what you're doing. So Patrick, Lindsay, thank you so much again for coming in. I cannot wait to see you out there. I know you're pretty busy, so I just try to give you a quick hello. But the first week of October 3rd through the 9th, the Shriners Hospital for Children's Open. You guys have done a phenomenal job, and I am really looking forward to it. I can't wait for it. Patrick, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Again, that's Patrick Lindsay.